Hello, guys. Welcome to episode 9 of Renegade on Air. I am your host. My name is Fantor or Roman, if you know me in person. Today is a very special episode. We are partnering with one of our favorite sponsors and a very important part of Ohlone, the Student Health Center. Uh, so, before we begin and meet our special guest, oh, the music still plays. Give me 1 second. But before we begin, I wanted to go through the agenda. So, of course, I want to introduce our special guests here. Both of these people work with the health center and want us to learn more about mindfulness and why the health center is super important. Uh, After that, we'll go through some of the questions that we're going to ask and answer. And at the end, we have some reminders for some events for both esports and Step Up. So feel free to introduce yourself, guys. Let's start with Jacqueline.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Jacqueline. You probably know me in our Discord servers, Fern, or at events. I'm one of the student wellness ambassadors, which is one of the programs under the Health Center, Student Health Center here at Aloni. And yeah, that's me.
Ooh.
Thank you, Jackie. Uh, and I'm Ang. I'm a licensed marriage family therapist. I'm one of the consultants that work with the Student Health Center, mentoring and helping the ambassadors as well as mental health system navigators learn more about the mental health system overall, the things that it's lacking, the things where we're strong in, and how do we spread awareness and meet people where they're at. And particularly in also how do we gamify it so that people enjoy it not just in life but like in their every day to day and also when they game, like how do you incorporate mindfulness or even check in with yourself. So that's a lot of what I do with the health center. That's what the health center has been expanding on, and you'll hear more about that as they we talk a little bit about how it goes across the campus now.
Sick. Okay, so we have a pretty icebreaker question. Or actually, I want Jacqueline to talk about the Student Health Center. It's, a lot of people on campus actually don't know about this, even though there is the fee, that you pay when you pay for classes. So, Jacqueline, please tell us all about it.
Right. As student wellness ambassadors, I am always promoting our health center resources. So, our Aloni Student Health Center is basically a really convenient and accessible way for students to receive health services. We offer both mental health and physical health services through amazing licensed therapists as well as our amazing nurse practitioners. And we also have all sorts of other resources like listed above on those flyers. And I have also shared these within the Discord. So check out our mental health posts tab, and this information is all in there as well. And basically, all of these services are included within your tuition under like the health registration fee, the student health fee. So since it's already paid for in your tuition, all of these resources as well as services are all completely available to students, and you can use them as much as you want, pretty much. If you want to schedule appointments, just scan those QR codes, and then you'll just like fill out intake forms or like medical information so that they can be prepared to like help you with whatever services that you do need. Each semester, students get up to 6 free mental health sessions with our this licensed therapists. And if you ever need more, we also have an amazing navigator team that can connect you to community resources that will suit your needs, be it like a mental health, extra mental health sessions or other services based off of like your medical needs. And oftentimes they're able to find really low price options or anything within your budget. And oftentimes there are lots of community resources out there that are available to the community for free as well. Yeah.
That's pretty incredible, actually. I didn't even know there was that much provided
hmm
with the health centers. Uh,
Yeah.
Amazing. Um, and if you have anything else to add, then feel free. But if not, down to move on.
Well, I mean, it offers so much more. I think people forget that, there's pathways through in that yes, we talk
Mhm.
about the mental health aspect, but health and mental health are the same thing. So anytime like you're injured, you come into there, and then we're gonna address the mental health at the same time, because injured people end up angry or sad or depressed when they can't do something. Also, when like people are anxious, that's a health thing because it causes like digestion issues, right? So health center has access to a lot of things, and will connect you to even basic needs center. Um, but also helping advocate, because sometimes we have stuff that we don't know what we're dealing with. We get overwhelmed, and naming it is the first part of being able to take control again and to get back in the game. It's like any game. If you can't name what you're doing wrong, how do you get better? And so the health center has a more holistic approach on how to name it. And it also does research. A lot of people in the health center do research, like tobacco and mindfulness, that expands really what does health look like and how do we live healthier lives and how do we gain better in life.
Damn, that was a great way to describe it. Actually, um, yeah, no, I've had that feeling. When you feel stressed, your stomach hurts. So there is that connection.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's actually again pretty incredible how much the student health center provides. So I hope this kind of opens up to whoever's watching all the services that are given by Aloni. So you're paying that fee whenever you register for classes, so you might as well use it whenever you need it.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Like on yeah.
uh,
And like
feel
on
free.
top of that, we have like all sorts of like medication. Like say it's allergy season. I know that I myself have been picking up some allergy medication when I forget to take it at home. Like they have like loratadine, they have like Advil, ibuprofen. Of
Mhm.
course, like I was saying, like if you're injured, there's like band-aids, all sorts of things that we have here at the health center. So like while we are open, you can always stop by and pick up these items. And I see like a question in chat that like for birth control pill, I believe that if you talk to our nurse practitioner Sway, it's possible to be able to access that birth control for free, pill for free. Because that's like if you contact her directly for it, but normally because she has a special grant
Yeah.
specifically for I think birth control specifically. So as long as you talk to her about it, she would be able to provide that for you. Otherwise, it may be an additional cost. But as long as you like make an appointment or just like request to see her about it, it is possible to get it for free,
Yeah, and they
was what
have
I
community
heard.
partners that they can connect you with, like even
Hmm.
the Tri-City Health Clinic and the teen clinic or the mobile clinic, right? And that's paid through
Yeah.
like county and city funds. But there's also programming at the community college to because culturally, it may be hard to get health services with some families. And so there's programs and grants and different funding sources available to protect your confidentiality, to protect your identity, and still serve you. And so there's ways that they can connect with you, especially like if you feel like, oh, my insurance won't cover it, and what if my parents, my family find out? Well, then if it's a safety issue, there are programs within the health center and within community colleges that can help you with that, right? And so that should be able to cover it. And there's other resources. They do have some contraceptives available then and there, including like condoms and diaphragm. So definitely always check in, and when in doubt, ask. Because if we can't find it for you, then the least we can do is help you look it up. And where can you get the thing you're looking for?
It's very important, people.
That helps.
Yeah. Again, tons of information, tons of services. The list keeps going on. I'm not gonna lie. The more I see you guys talk, the more is added to the list. So it's pretty incredible. Is there anything else you guys want
Yeah,
to cover?
pretty. I mean, I'm pretty sure we could go on for quite a
Yeah,
bit
for
on
quite a
like
bit.
services or resources that we can help students access. But definitely, if students ever have questions, they can message me or like come up to the health center to ask these questions or email us. We do have like as Roman is pointing out, like the whole contact us. And we'll of course get back to you on any of your questions that you have. And everyone at the health center is super kind and amazing. So your questions will be resolved. And if we don't have the answer, we will search for the answer and get back to you so
Yeah.
that you won't have to have another worry on your mind that's
Yeah.
healthcare related.
And just to throw in a plug, if you like what you hear here, just know that we are taking applications for ambassadors and navigators. So like, just feel free, jump out and like, I want to be part of that. I want to be part of the student advocacy and health across the campus and across other campuses because the navigators connect with six other schools within the Bay Area, the community colleges. So it's about also expanding your world and doing what you love. If this is something you're interested in, definitely check it out.
Yeah, thank you, Ing. Thank you, Fern. Also, this is pretty incredible.
Mhm.
Um, Again, if you ever have any more questions, they've just told you where to contact them. Uh, and yeah, let's move on to some of the questions. Let's start with a little icebreaker. What does gaming mean to you? So I'm gonna let you two answer first. Obviously, I'm asking the questions. So, whoever wants to go first, go shoot.
You can go. I'm an old fogey, so I have a different definition.
Okay, okay. I mean, for me, gaming is one of like the biggest things that helped me like, make a lot of friends. Like, an absolutely amazing way to socialize, have fun, and also just experience like a whole new world because all of the games are so immersive. Like, gaming is just like a way to kind of like, I guess, reconnect with my inner child and really just like take my mind off a lot of things, oftentimes be transported into a whole new world. Just like when I read novels or watch movies, like gaming is also an amazing way to do that in a much more interactive way. And honestly, I really love the thrill that it brings. And oftentimes for me, I play some competitive games for that competitive edge that I haven't really been able to like do as much with like competitive sports anymore. But yeah,
Mhm.
gaming is so fun like that.
I love that. I love that.
Great answer.
Um, yeah, and so for me, we're gonna take a step back and just first define what a game is, right? And I think a game is any activity that has a set of rules and a goal in mind, right? So you can name any activity like playing cards, playing chess. Sometimes arguing is a game for people, right? Right? Is this a game to you? Right? We wouldn't ask that question if it didn't feel like one, because there's a set of rules and expectations and a goal in mind. Gaming therefore means the active engagement of whatever activity that it is. Because just because you have a game in front of you doesn't mean you're engaging in it. To start gaming is to actively engage in it. That means you're playing chess, not just watching it. That you're playing life, the game of life, not just watching and observing passively. Right? So anything that has a set of expectations and rules and goals in mind, whether it be to relax, to have fun, or to like get competitive or to get known, whatever that goal is, when you engage in it, you are actively gaming. And oftentimes people will talk about gamify, and gamify is just one aspect of it in which they make it competitive and induce a reward system oftentimes. But that's not all it means to gamify. Gamify also means to make expectations very clear. Because if you know what you're clear on, you know what your goal is, then there's something that you want to achieve, regardless of the reward or whether or not it's competitive. So gaming, just a very broad term is the act of engagement in any activity that has a set of rules, expectations, and goals in mind.
Wow, Ben, you were very holistic with your definition. It's gonna be hard to follow that up. Um, but for, I guess I'll go for me. Gaming has genuinely been like my whole life. When I think about it, I can't think of a time I wasn't playing video games. I wasn't, whether it was being inspired by my older sibling, taking her DS, her DS or Game Boy, deleting her Pokemon save data, and her getting mad at me. Yeah, I
Oh,
deleted it, and she had a full Pokédex. She was so mad at me. But
oh,
or when my parents, for some reason, let me play Call of Duty at 4 years old. But like you said, that engagement that um has let me like see this beauty that is gaming, and it's meant so much to me in my life that like look at me now. I'm helping out this esports club. I'm putting so much passion into it because of that. I feel like gaming is almost like Fern said, another world and like a separate life.
Mhm,
I um
Mhm.
I love to compete under
mhm,
Renegade Esports, and it almost feels like I'm a second person under like the fan tour tag compared to Roman.
mhm,
And I think that's so
mm.
incredible that I can basically play a different persona and have this life through games. And then I have the real
Mm.
world where I do, I have, study, I go to work, I have like responsibilities. But then when I go into games, there's a different set of responsibilities and stuff that I need to commit to. I think that's pretty incredible.
That's beautiful. Yeah, both you have wonderful definitions and how it integrates into your life because it's like any game we choose. It's the one that you want to play, right? And how you want to play it.
Mhm.
So I love your definitions.
Well, yeah. Okay. Fern, I'll let you ask this next question because I have some answers for.
Yeah, of course. And then moving on to the next topic, we wanted to discuss identity and representation in gaming. So, how have video games tried to create more representation and inclusive inclusivity
Yeah, you got it.
Damn.
into their communities?
So I put some examples
It
on the
has,
screen,
Love it.
but
yeah.
if you have any answers before I speak, that'd be fine. But I could just go over these real quick. So right here are just like clear examples of games trying to cater to be more diverse and try to
Hmm.
show more inclusivity off. So we have the Sims, the most recent Sims, has a lot more customizables for they them, different styles of like fashion, and
Hmm.
that's one thing that's beautiful actually about gaming is customizables, being able to customize your character to however you deem fit. I think that's pretty beautiful.
Hmm.
Right there in the middle is Bridget. I think she's one of the first transgender fighting game
Yeah.
characters, and she has her own story and plotline behind it. She's from the game Guilty Gear Strive, so that's pretty amazing. I think that's like a step forward. And one of my favorite representations, just stories in general, is Fluorescent, who is the
Mm-hmm.
first female Valorant tier one Valorant pro playing in like the top of the top echelon leagues. Like there is the separate leagues of game changers,
Hmm.
and and then there is like VCT, but she is playing in VCT and dominating right now, breaking a lot of barriers. So these are like three examples that stuck out in my mind.
And I think it's also good to note that she's top tier, right? And she's not the exception. It's just a lot of female identifying players, especially when you get in voice. When you say you play Call of Duty, I'm like, did you play that on open chat like voice? Because that's a whole different experience. Growing up, when you like if you're on Xbox Live, that's the first time you hear racism. Um, so it's like when you're looking at competitive female players, oftentimes people may be just wicked good and don't get in that realm because it's historically been toxic towards female identifying players, right? Just
Yeah.
the culture of gaming itself. And so I think representation and inclusivity is important because it's showing that anyone and everyone is equally good. It's not just a guy's thing. That girls are good too, females are good too. And I've seen females rock people. I've gamed with them. Most of my friends are female, and they do not get on voice chat because the moment they start speaking, then it gets toxic towards them, and your own teammates might do that, right? And so it's not to say that you know fluorescent is superb and not the only good female player out there. It's just a lot of people would rather say, I don't want to deal with that stress. It's already hard enough for male performers in the competitive gaming world to get through their mental health struggles. Imagine adding on Gamergate, right, and adding on this vitriol towards you because you're female, just like they have done in the past for black gamers. So, the more you can include this in gaming, the more you start seeing protagonists in the games you play, the more it becomes normalized, right? The more you start realizing this is not the exception, this is the norm. We just didn't make space for it, right? And part of representation shows also that, before when you played like 16-bit, 64-bit, it was like this is who you get to play, and the protagonists they're pretty monolithic, right? They didn't look like you or me.
Mhm.
And the more they've opened up that platform, you start realizing a lot of times when you play things like Baldur's Gate 3 or any RPG where you could customize your character, we spend more time customizing and building our character than we do actually running through the story, right? Like I could spend 4 hours
Quite
on Guild Wars just building a character up to show parts of my identity that I want to let out. Right? We get to choose who we are. We without any judgment. And like there's those memes that you see, right? They see all the Sabrina Carpenter skins and they're like, those are probably all guys, right? Because we get to let a part of ourselves out that otherwise isn't socially accepted yet, or we feel that it isn't, right? And part of inclusivity is not just also talking about our pronouns and identity, but also our abilities, right? Gaming has evolved so much that people with different abilities, visible and invisible, can now engage, right? We've had Fortnite players from the deaf community rock us. I'm like, you can't hear my footsteps. How
definitely.
did you find me? And they rock us, right? And so it's so much more than that, that people can come to the table and be part of the community and not feel left out, not feel like they're observing. Now they're gaming because they're part of it.
Beautifully said.
So that's my,
Mhm.
yeah, that's my bits on that.
Fern, do you want to speak before I talk even more? I don't want to kill
Yeah.
you.
I mean, recently, because life has been stressful, I've been playing a lot more chill games. So more like story oriented or less intense games. So I think recently, for what comes to my head, recently I've been playing. I was a teenage exo colonist, and I think I thought it was just really cool because it was like one of like the options that you could choose for like your character's appearance to be like androgynous or like more
Mm,
masculine, more feminine, and you could customize the pronouns to match, or you could just customize it to look one way and then have certain pronouns and things like that. I just feel like that's just really nice because when characters are more like when you are able to customize your character and make it more like yourself, or characters within like the like say visual novels represent a part of your community, it you feel more of a connection, you feel more connected to the game, and it's a much more immersive experience. Like we've been saying, like we get to like either live out or like kind of like portray the parts of ourselves that we can't normally do because it's not socially acceptable, like Anna was saying, or
mhm,
possibly just because um socially we're not quite there yet. And I think even being able to see like just like people being more open with like relationship like representation within games has been really amazing. Like I was thinking about I guess Stardew Valley,
mhm,
um for a game that's almost 10 years old, they really were like pretty, I guess, forward in that sense. Like games have been really progressive recently, so now it didn't even click to me, like, because it's, like, popping up within, like, the games, within the media that I'm consuming. Like, I think it's really helping to normalize and represent, like, the communities that are underrepresented so that we can, like, better understand them, and then
mm,
that just
mm.
helps it so that, we have more equity and people are able to see and connect with characters that we identify with and things like that.
That was beautifully put. And I think just to expand it and to remind folks, it's about choosing your flavor, right? You go to an ice cream shop that has
Mhm.
3 flavors, you will settle. You'll say, I kind of want pistachio, but they only have chocolate, strawberry, and vanilla. And I'll take one of those, but I want pistachio. And the more flavors there are, the
Mhm.
more people will be like, oh, that's overwhelming. That's like Baskin Robbins 37 flavors plus Cold Stone's additives, right? And that's a lot. And it's still, if you know what you want, you can go in and get it now. The option's there versus precluding it, not giving you the option to begin with, saying, hey, this is what you're stuck with, you're settling. So the difference is, are you actually choosing and getting to choose? Or are you settling with what is? And I think you're happier when you have the options to choose. Even if you're gonna go in, see all 37 flavors, all the additives from Cold Stone and Lord's ice cream, and you're like, oh, I can have anything, and I still want vanilla. You still make a choice. You have that freedom to choose. And I think that's what's beautiful about it. that you get to choose the flavor you want, no matter how plain or extravagant it is. Versus this is what you get. Too bad, so sad. Play it and love it, right? So I think there's beauty in this that people get to show a lot more of themselves to say this is my flavor and this is how I like it. I like pistachios with peanut butter bars in it, and that's what you can do with games
Hmm.
now, right? And no one's gonna judge you because you could add anything you want. So just to expand on yours, but I did see in chat, we have Charmin 11B. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Please correct me.
Mhm.
Um, what's y'all take on gaming, work life, and social life balance? Would you say mental health takes a toll if
Hello, anybody there?
Oh, okay. I think it froze for a second or it cut out.
Uh, hey Ing. So sorry, just to rebound. I think Ing might have cut out. Maybe. You're still here, right, Fern? Fern?
Yeah, I'm still
Okay,
here.
okay. I'm just.
Discord sometimes does that.
Oh yeah, I'm making sure. Uh, I saw him unmute, remute, unmute, and then yeah, remute. So he might be trying to fix his uh his mic, but um, yeah, I loved his analogy about the ice cream
Yes.
and oh yeah, and come back out. Yeah, feel free. I'll drag you back in. You're good. Just join VC1. But yeah, I think that was a great way to put it. When you when you give people more more choices, more opportunities, it gives more freedoms for them to want to pick what they want, like what they
Yeah.
want to do. That's why I thought customizables in Sims are super cool because I've spent a lot of time making Sims
Hmm.
look just like my friends. Whatever, like we make like cool like and stuff like that, or like just making silly looking Sims. So I think it's pretty sick that that like something like that's happening in games where you can genuinely express whatever you want on like a character. I did hear your chuckle too. So
I think we heard you.
yeah, feel
I
free
oh,
to
think you're
perfect.
back, which
continue
is good.
on the on
Yes.
Sherm's question. Yeah,
Yes, I was just reading out loud because sometimes, as we're doing podcasts, sometimes people are driving, they're just listening, so they can't read the chat. So I just want to be mindful for those. So I'm just gonna read it again if it's all right with y'all.
of course.
All right. So
Sounds
Charmin's,
good.
yeah, Charmin put in chat, what is y'all's take on gaming, work life, and social life balance? Would you say mental health takes a toll if one just games virtually, but has less physical connection with others? So, they wanted to know what our take is on that and what our thoughts are.
That is
Mm,
I think
do you want to start?
I'll let you start. Actually, this is a pretty loaded
Okay.
question when I think about it.
Yeah, it is.
I mean,
It relates to one of
it
our
is
later
a really hard
questions too.
question,
So like that's why.
and we can definitely expand on it more too, when we get there. But at least for myself, um, gaming, work life, and social balance is definitely something that can suffer if it's not balanced well. But I think as long as you understand what you need, I feel like it's okay. Because sometimes when I game, sometimes I'm doing it for the social aspect, but I'm also oftentimes playing single player games because
Mm,
those are like the games that I really enjoy, or if that's something I need. Because oftentimes, at least in my role as a student wellness ambassador and organizing all sorts of events on campus, even outside my role with like A&O, um, oftentimes I'm just stuck on campus talking to like 20, 50, hundreds of people each day. And personally, socially, I am very drained. Like, as much as I want to play more with other people, sometimes I just need to really reserve that time for myself. So
mm,
I think it's like as long as you understand like what you need out of like your gaming session or like you understand where you're at, you'll be able to balance it better, I guess. Because at least in my first year here at Aloni, like my first year was not as well balanced. I think work life was crazy, class life was crazy, social life was non-existent. Um, but like definitely I'd say it can like on the mental health side, it can take a toll. on you if you don't balance it well. Um, I wouldn't say if you only game, that's not necessarily a bad thing because you could be making lots of social connections that are really important to you, but are virtual just because, say your friend is currently down in SoCal or on the other side of the world, in a different country, on the East Coast or something. Like you're through gaming or through like online connections, you might be connecting and interacting with them in that way. So I wouldn't say that it's not necessarily like completely bad because sometimes you might not be able to have physical connections with them, especially if it's like there are like other barriers like traveling, commuting to meet up. But, like, I guess for, like, some students as well or some people just in their day-to-day life, traveling around town might not be convenient. Maybe they take public transit or they don't drive yet. So, like, when that's the case, sometimes you do have to resort to hanging out virtually because that's most convenient and most, like, accessible. And, I'd say at least for myself, I guess my mental health wasn't that bad the first year. It wasn't because of not of me just gaming virtually, but I think it was just because school. So I'd say it could take a toll on your mental health, but it could also just really make that person happy. And if that's what they need, I guess that's okay. They probably will have other ways to like make physical connections. It might not be for like the social aspect, but just in their day-to-day life, they might go shopping or things like that, just for their basic needs and things like that. They'll still be having social interactions. It might not be like what you have in mind for like hangouts, having fun, doing things outside, but like, we're not always doing, like, social activities like that anyways. It's often hard to make time for that. So, doing it virtually is a way that we can hang out and interact with others too, so it's okay.
Yeah.
That was
I,
winded, sorry guys.
No, that was
no, that
fun.
was beautiful, and it gave solid examples because it really does come down to what is it you need. Some people are agoraphobic; they wouldn't otherwise connect with anybody, right? And when
Mhm,
you're gonna say, "Let's do exposure therapy and shove you in the crowd and get to know people," no, gaming's your door. Gaming's the opportunity to connect with folks, right?
mhm,
People in rural communities. A lot of people don't know this during pandemic, beginning part of the pandemic. There was a server for us responders and health providers, right? I was in a server with GamerDoc, who ended up being a director for like Evil Geniuses, and the server was a lot of health professionals. A lot of doctors are signing death certificates. I was a therapist, and I deal with people all day. I don't want to see people when I'm not dealing with them, right?
Yeah.
And so in that server, we
mhm,
talked about anything and everything except for the pandemic and except for grief, right? That was a place where we can tap out. And so my buddies know this. Like we all work with people, whether they're law enforcement, educators, volunteer or community workers. They're just like, I deal with people all day. I want to go online, and some days we want to win. Other days we just want to like play random rules in Fortnite. We'll roll dice, and the dice will tell us what rules we play by. Like this person's got to live the longest. So if anyone starts coming after them, you have to die first or kill everyone around, right? That's the rule we play, right?
Yeah.
Or knives only, pickaxes only, right? Or knives only in like in CS, right? You roll the dice, you play by your rules, because that's what we need. And other times we log on and say, actually, I thought I needed this, but I might need an ice cream run. Anyone free? Anyone nearby? Ice cream run. And there's Fern said, like sometimes we live across the world. There's no other way to connect with the rest of the world people. And then you get to know people, and you feel safe, and you feel seen, you feel heard, you feel recognized, and then TwitchCon comes or AnimeCon or Fanime comes, and you're like, you know what? I'm gonna go hang out with them. Right? That's your opportunity to get into the world. But that wouldn't have been met if you were like, my goal is to get out and I have a girlfriend or anxiety, versus my goal is to make friends. And now I have an incentive to challenge myself to step out of the house. Right? And so it's just knowing what need you have and finding how virtual gaming or in-person gaming meets that need. And as a healthcare professional, I'm telling you right now, like I will always prefer to stay home. We can hop on a Discord call, eat and game together, and just send each other dinner. But I'd rather not leave my house if I don't have to, especially in Bay Area traffic. You know?
So true. Actually, so true. And you guys kind of covered all the
Mhm.
bases. Um, I'll have a pretty short take on this. I've definitely also struggled with this balance, and one thing I've tried to do is try to combine a lot of it together. So a lot of the people I play games with that social is are the same people I'm have the same social life with. So like I'll play games with people, and then that will be kind of like my social time. Or like if I'm not
Mm.
playing games, I'll go out and hang out with them, like get dinner with them. Now, because of my major, I'm in business administration. I've had a lot more opportunity to try to outreach, and one thing I've been trying to do more is try to get an internship with a tech or video game esports organization, video game company. So combine maybe gaming
Mm.
and work life, which I think would be really
Yeah.
cool. Um, I think being able to find ways to have like one, two of the three things in that balance like work in tandem together makes it a lot easier to
Mm.
balance, at least for me.
Yeah. And if it comes down to if it becomes part of your job or it becomes a way to stay sane, I don't think there's a separation between social, game, or work life. That part of my work is self care, whether I'm doing mindfulness or whether I'm gaming with someone. Right? I need a debrief.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
I have a nurse who works in the NICU. That's the newborn ICU,
Mhm.
and sometimes he comes home from work. He's like, I don't want to talk about it, but I need a game so I can show up to work tomorrow. That's not a work life balance issue. That's life.
Mm,
Mhm.
that's true. Um, yeah, that was a good question. Thank you, Sherm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a really good question.
Yeah,
Very loaded question.
yeah,
You asked me some really deep, heavy ones.
yeah. We're on like we're on like slide 7, guys. Like, come, damn, loaded questions already. But yeah, I also am just talking about this
Okay.
topic. I am of the belief that, of course, um,
Mhm.
like there's really no barrier stopping anybody from being like the best,
Hmm.
and that's something that I believe that I
Yeah.
love about video games, and I love about our community at Renegade Esports is that everybody's here. Smash Bros.
Hmm.
Reference. Everybody, like it doesn't matter
Mhm.
who you are, gender, diversity, like race, culture, how you've been raised. If you want to join the community, you can, and you'll be a part of it, and it's amazing. That's something I
Mhm.
love about our club.
Yeah.
And video games. Like I've met so many different people of different backgrounds because of video games, and I think that's really awesome. Yeah. Let me see. Let's make sure I'm not missing anything else. I think we're good. Let's talk about something that we might
I think we're
all
good.
do. A little bit. So
I wonder
Oh.
what that is.
we got some of us play some even competitive games, or we've played like a Dark Soul. It's called Elders, Elden Ring, and stuff like that.
Bloodborne.
I just wanna ask you guys, what do you think? What does it mean to mod or tilt, and how can we deal with it?
Who wants to start?
Uh, well, I can't start. I asked the question. I'm gonna let one of you two go for it.
Okay, okay.
Right. I'll start this time
Um,
because I've been getting you
okay.
guys to do it, and so just etymology of mauled, right? It's like mad bald, right? Yeah, you're so mad. Tilt is tilting table, right? Or flipping your keyboard. It's well, you oftentimes get mad or tilted, and anger is a reaction, right? To anytime something you value or your integrity is threatened. So when we get mauled or get tilted, it's oftentimes because we feel inadequate, right? We may blame other people, or we get mad because something we value, maybe it's winning, or maybe we value communication, it's not happening. We get tilted, and then it shows up, and then when we get tilted, we might tilt everybody else around us, right? But getting tilted is losing your cool. It's no longer being mindful; it's now reacting, right? And it's not even the good kind of muscle memory. It's not the good kind of muscle memory when you're in your flow. This is the muscle memory where you're just reacting to whatever happens to you, and you're no longer in the flow, but you're being controlled by the things around you. You're reacting to that. You're not in this flow state where you're just hitting every headshot or just hitting every skill check. you're not doing that anymore because you're worried about everything else and you're being distracted by what you perceive as a threat to something you value or your integrity.
Yeah, no, that was
Mm,
pretty well put. Um,
yeah, that was a really well-rounded response.
well, I mean, Jacqueline, of course,
Um,
extend on it.
extend on it. Yeah, so I feel like the definitions have definitely been set. I have nothing to add to those definitions for sure. Um, I mean, definitely because at least for myself, I don't mold that often because if there's something going wrong in the game, I just accept it. And I try not to take that out on others because gaming for most people is like their safe space, their getaway from whatever they're dealing with in the world. So I try not to take that out on others. If I am upset, I might complain a little, but that's probably as far as I take it. Um and oftentimes I might be the person everyone's mauling at because my low skill, but I guess how we can deal with it is I just at least for myself, I kind of like reflect on what specifically is upsetting me
Right.
at the time, or like what specifically is the thing that's triggering me or really like bothering me. Oftentimes, at least for myself, that oftentimes is people who go AFK in like the middle of like a really critical moment, or possibly just are not doing that well. But like of course when I think about that, I'm like, yes, I have my off days. Yes, life happens. Have I been AFK before? Yes. Which is like away from keyboard or like just like like away from the game for whatever reason. Like life happens and I get it. Like what if when my parents come into my room, I might have to tab out because I'm not supposed to be playing games. But like when I reflect on it, at least I can control whether or not I'm mauled. And in the case where like other people around me are mauling, I try to kind of just like boost the atmosphere and like get everyone to like shake it off or like calm down because oftentimes we are mauling or tilting like on the side because we feel um like something really important to us is um being affected, be it like a victory or not being able to meet an objective just because of like what's going on in the game. So, yeah, and mhm,
No, that's a great breakdown of what you need to do, and like honestly, like examples are always a good way to describe it. Um, I mean, I play a lot of competitive
mhm.
games. If anybody in chat can attest, if I've ever played with them, I can tilt. I am susceptible. Um, I find tilting to be like you said, like that negative emotions, and usually when you tilt, you play worse. That's how I associate tilt. Like you're not turning that anger into motivation, but more into like an example is like when you play really bad in a game and you're having like really like Valorant. I've tilt queued before, which is you lose and you're like, I gotta win one. You can't end on a loss, and you queue again and you keep losing, keep
Yep.
losing. I
Yep.
lost
Yep.
8 straight
One
like
more.
maybe a week ago on Valorant, by the way. So I am
Oh.
susceptible, but um but one thing I do believe that helps me deal with it, of course, is just taking off my headphones and like maybe just walking up and down stairs, getting a cup of water, taking that break. Um, I think it's really good to separate yourself from that gaming world every once in a while. You can't always be locked in forever, right? Gotta see the outside world, feel the fresh air. Sometimes I'll like leave my room, get a cup of water, take some deep breaths, stuff like that. Um, watch some TV shows, anything just to get my mind off the tilt. And I'll go back because I
Mhm.
love playing the video game. It's just like a period of time I need to deal with, and I just need to be able to get past that, and I'll go back.
I think it's helpful
Those
to
were really good
identify that need.
examples.
Yeah. Great examples, right? And it
Mm,
keeps going back to the theme of
mhm,
find your need, right? And meet that need, whatever that thing is. You got to identify that.
mhm.
Go ahead, friend.
Yeah, and oftentimes it's also just like Like oftentimes if it's someone else's behavior that is ticking you off, that's not necessarily something you can control. But so instead of like getting really hung up on that point, um like letting go of that or trying not to think about that or getting super critical on that because that fixation might just really disrupt like your tempo, your ability to perform like Roman was saying. So at least for myself, I just focus on like how can I do better to like make up for whatever is going on? Like, can I step up to improve the situation? Is there anything else I can do? Because like if it's someone else's behavior or if it's something that's outside of my control, I can't fix that. But what specifically can I do to improve the situation? And oftentimes it's change the mood, say something motivating or like just try to improve the atmosphere because oftentimes my skill won't hold up, but the best thing I can do is try to make everyone else feel a little better too about whatever we're going through and hope that will be enough to change the situation. Yes.
Well, they can't blame you because you're consistent. They expected it and predicted it, right? You're consistent. Right.
That's a very
And
positive way to look at
I
it.
mean, they agreed to play with me too, so I
yeah,
don't know what
so
to say.
y'all
They
know what
knew
you
what they
signed up
signed up
for.
for.
Yeah.
Mhm. I'm the same way. That it's like that's why the Discord, like and people know me as Loot Fiend, or in FPSs, I'm Dead Man's Guns, right? I go around picking up players' guns and shooting people with it. So you're not gonna find me buying it or like there's what is he doing? Looting again, right? And if you know who you're playing with, you know what the need is, and you know what's upsetting you. You have three choices, right? You can either change how you feel, change your response, or change your expectation, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And when you change your expectation, right? Like when we have losing streaks sometimes, and we're just like, oh, and we have that just one more mentality. We got to win, and we change it to, you know what? Tell you what, if we win 3 games straight, we're going out to get fun, no matter what time it is. It changes your expectation of what it is now. And now instead of trying to just win, you're like, I'm actually trying to get fun. If we don't, I'm not going to be upset about it, but we tried, because it's a real motivator. Now I know my team is really serious about trying because they're like, it's 3 a.m. We're going to get pho, right? So you change your goal, your expectation of it, and because it moves you out of being tilted. And when you can move out of being tilted, you're back in control. You are back in control,
Mhm.
right? And it takes a lot of mindfulness, a lot of being aware to do that. And that means, you know, catch yourself, check yourself, then change yourself.
That's beautiful. Like that's the consistent thing I'm saying, but it
Yeah.
really does open up your mind to like like everything you deal with. Just when you're thinking of just broadly video games, there's so much. Um, yeah. I already know I'm gonna play some Valorant tonight, and there might be a chance I tilt. But I got these tips in mind, guys. You know, courtesy of the student health center. Just want to say that. So I got it. Yeah,
And if you do feel like you're out of your game, then intentionally be out of your game. Make it your choice. So then say, you know what? I'm having an off day with my pocket pick anyways. Let me just play someone I don't normally play so I can get good at that, or I know I suck, right? So that way you don't feel as inadequate with the person you're supposed to be good with. You're now learning again. You got to be humble when you're learning a new character
yeah.
or a new role. When it's team comp and you switch a team comp up, when I'm used to playing jungle and now I'm mid, different gameplay.
For sure. I
Um,
can agree.
King-
That's why my performance has gone down.
oh sorry.
I'm getting off Cypher or my main role, so
Hey,
that's very
it's
understandable.
good to learn.
You're
Good
off
to
your
learn.
main.
And
King, there's a question
I
in
have my
chat.
good days and my
Oh,
bad
my
days,
bad.
but I'm learning. Yes. Yeah. Sharman has all the questions, and it's a really good one too. And I'll read it out loud, so that our listeners can also get in on that if you are not able to read chat. So when it comes to talking about mental health, how can you help someone asking for assistance, either mentally or emotionally? And especially if like you're going through like mental struggles yourself.
That's like asking, how can you feed someone if you're both hungry? You share the food. I don't have to carry your burden, you have to
Yeah.
carry mine, but at least you and I both know we're hungry together. And sometimes naming it helps you become aware of it and normalizes that it's all right. We're both struggling. I can't carry you, but you know what? We can look for answers outside together. Or you're not crazy. Like, yes, the world is feeling like crap right now, or you feel like crap, I feel like crap, and I see you, right? I see you. That's the most important thing is to see someone's pain and suffering. You don't have to do anything about it, right? You don't have to solve the world's problems. Just don't add to them, you know? Yeah. And so it's like, I see you and I can't solve it, but we can sit in this darkness together. And if I see any resolution for you or me, I will let you know. And I ask that you do the same.
Mhm.
Well put.
Any resources come my way and you think about me, send it my way. And if I think about you, I'll send it your way. But I see you. You matter. Roman, you're going to say something?
No, I was gonna say. Uh, Actually, no, I have nothing. That was just that was very helpful. And yeah, feel free to reach out. Right, that was the big thing.
Yes. Always reach
Yes.
out. Even if and don't feel obligated like, "Oh god, they told me this thing." It's like you don't have to solve it, but you can help them find resources. Say, "I don't know what to do." And let's figure this out together. Let's go reach out to someone. Let me walk with you so you're not alone. Let me help you ask the questions because you're feeling overwhelmed. You don't have the questions to ask. And if I'm struggling and you're struggling, maybe when they answer your question, I get answers to mine.
Yes. I can definitely say that um it's probably better to be like honest in those situations. Like if you're going through something, it is 100% okay to share that with them. Just like let them know where you're at, how you're trying to meet them from their position and things like that. Like An was saying, like looking for the answers together. I think at least for myself, when people pose like mental health related questions, that was really what got me into like thinking about it and also like backtracking and thinking about like the old like my own personal struggles with mental health. Answering their questions oftentimes was something that really helped me. So, by answering the questions, I was able to help both myself and them in a way that like let them feel heard and also just like it like kind of like just like let everyone know that uh like how do I put it? That we're all going through our struggles. They might have like some similarities, but of course we all have our like in unique like lived experiences. Um and because of that, we can do the best we can to support each other. um Oftentimes like not all of like the tips and tricks that we share with each other might be like the perfect fits, but we're trying our best to help each other along the way, and we're trying different techniques and we're exploring solutions together. And because there's someone in it with you, that can be something that is really powerful and amazing in the sense that you're not alone, because navigating mental health alone is definitely a lot scarier. And just like
Mhm.
it's okay to let them know that you're struggling, because that just lets them know that like they're not alone in it, and like you don't have all the answers, but like we're working on it together.
Yeah. Wow. I feel like this is the podcast I've spoken the least. You guys have spoken like said so much stuff of value. I can't. It's hard to add on. But let's move on. You know, it's great that we're talking about all these topics. We got a good amount more to go though, and
Mhm.
kind of
I want
branching
to do
off the
a time
tilt.
check if you guys are good.
Yeah, it is pretty. We probably should move on a little bit faster. Um, Actually, you know, what, Fern, I'll let you ask the question.
So moving on, we're going into what are toxic or perhaps unhealthy behaviors within gaming, and we're like expanding on some more beyond like tilt or molding. Yeah.
Mm.
Like, what are some toxic, unhealthy behaviors within gaming?
I'm not
Uh,
drinking water.
yeah, no, feel free. I just put three pretty basic ones, but of course it can go deeper into this. But these are three that I've I've seen, and we've even talked about recently. So like griefing,
Mm,
so like
Mm.
purposely uh messing up your teammates in like a competitive game or a team game,
Mm-hmm.
or online harassment. That was a graphic taken of about 1,000 over 1,000 online gamers of different games, seeing who has experienced harassment while playing their game. And if you can see, there's a list. Like Dota apparently is the most, and then Counter Strike, and then Overwatch. But this is pretty old, so it's probably new numbers. But as you can see, it's a pretty high number of players that uh, feel like they've been harassed online. And then
Mhm.
something a little bit more
Mm-hmm.
extreme is doxing, which has happened to people I
It's
know.
illegal.
It is very illegal. So these are
Yeah.
just three, but of course there's a deeper dive. If you guys want to talk about that more, I just put three pretty standard examples of very unhealthy behaviors.
It comes down to attacking one's integrity or character, right? It's everyone is in relationship with themselves, relation with other, in relation with the world. And in the same sense, you can attack yourself, which we often do, right? We're like, I'm not good enough, or God, I suck, right? And then you get more tilted, or you attack each other, and then or you attack the world around you, right? You just go in there and you grief the whole game, right? You break the game, you start doing things to make it hard for other people to play. Um, right? And it's those are some of the unhealthy behaviors that people do engage in because it gives them some sense of control and normalcy, right? That sense of control is agency. We call it agency, the ability to respond and feel like you have some efficacy or you're efficient or have some say in it, right? And oftentimes we get into this negative mindset. And on the converse, sometimes we try to inoculate our community from it, and we become, positively toxic, where we ignore each other's feelings and just spout positivity all the time. And now we become ignorant, right? We're ignoring what is in front of us. And so these are just unhealthy habits when we feel that we're out of control or we're in chaos, which is chaos. The word means a vast chasm, right? That there's a hole that we need to meet, inadequacy, whether it's ourself or our team, and then we overcompensate with attacks and hostility, right?
Yeah.
And that's a horrible unhealthy behavior because it doesn't help us build any relationship with self, each other, or the world.
Fern, do you have anything else
That was a
you want to add?
really, really good response. Um, because I really like how you brought up also like the points on like being like way too positive because then that's like ignoring or like sidestepping the elephant in the room, which could be just like a specific behavior or thing that's happening, which is not really like you said, like which could be a problem. Um honestly, I am I haven't encountered that much unhealthy toxic behavior, I guess, other than like maybe other people like not respecting boundaries, I guess, and that would be like a type of harassment. But because I grew up on mobile games and I don't think people can do as much on mobile games or as much damage on mobile games as some of the other titles that I've been trying out more recently. But I mean, I think anything can become toxic or unhealthy as long as soon as you start taking it to an extreme or like just like out of proportion. And um I don't know what else to say because I feel like you guys covered all the bases or most of the bases.
That's fine. It's all about like expressing what you feel and your personal experience. Um,
Hmm.
Something that came up into mind was when I was talking again about Call of Duty, right? And playing in those lobbies. And I think one thing about these toxic and unhealthy behaviors, it instills onto people, especially younger generations. So I
Yeah.
remember, um, when you hear little kids in these gaming lobbies and they're saying a lot of toxic and unhealthy things, it's probably because they heard it in the game too from somebody else and they're just copying it or from other sources. So I think that toxic behavior
Right.
really spreads. It is like a poison, and I've definitely had that happen. Due diligence, like during like my COD days, I've heard some of my friends say some stuff that shouldn't be said, and they've heard it from other people in the lobby. So I think that's something that happens in most spheres, but I've seen in gaming.
It's like a really good point about the perpetuation and how like this behavior just spreads. Which is why oftentimes it's just creating like a negative feedback cycle that just keeps spreading and kind of just ends up affecting a big portion of the community, which can be something that is a barrier to the whole gaming experience, which is why, like you said, that oftentimes some people it becomes like a part of like oftentimes certain games have like a bad reputation because like you were saying that sometimes people just like perpetuate like this negativity or bad behavior or certain like comments or things that shouldn't be said, and that's just like it becomes like a joke or think something like people blow out of proportion because I have
Mhm.
heard stories. I haven't experienced it myself because I'm not in those communities or I've never experienced it, but I've heard of people talking about like stories in like Call of Duty or like you were saying. Um and yeah. So I really like how you made that point about how this behavior like perpetuates and spreads and even it ends up kind of like getting to people and they might engage in it too even though they normally wouldn't and things like that.
Of course. Here I will move us on to our next question, and this can be more for Aang, honestly. I'd love to learn too.
Yeah.
How can we foster and
Hmm.
maintain more healthy gaming habits? So this was, or if you want to read off the script too, for about maybe making it more clear.
So yeah, I know. Yeah, how do you foster and maintain it? It's identifying your needs and finding your balance. Right? Balance doesn't mean equal everything. It means meeting whatever you need you have. Sometimes you might need one thing or more, one thing more than another. Right? Whether it's more rest, whether it's more gaming, whether it's more transition period. But finding out what you need and building it into your routine and your schedule. Right? Like I said earlier, physical and mental health are the same thing, right? If you have back pain or neck pain and you're still gaming and you have that little zing in your neck because your monitor's too high, you're gonna get frustrated with yourself, right? It makes you freeze, and you're gonna get and then emotionally you're gonna be impacted from physical pain. So it's slowing down to figure out what's going on in your body, right? Tending to it. Drinking water, something we don't do enough, right?
Yeah,
Right.
Yes.
So
100%.
much that there's like Twitch Twitch what you call
Kind of,
responses when you type it in, it says drink water, right? You could pay for these
Oh
bits
my
for
God.
a giant emote to come out and say drink water, right?
I do
Um
that all the time. I send
see
them to people because they're too locked in. They need to remember to do take a pause or stretch break or the water break. Yes.
drink and rate Red Bulls a day. It's like, hey, Red Bull has water, right? um, and,
Oh my
and
God.
also you set up guidelines for yourself and principles. Oftentimes we engage, but we don't have rules of engagement. And I don't like rules because either the rule is you break it or you follow it. So I go by principles. What are the principles that you live by and what you game by, right? And you make yourself a predictable gamer that way, and a great team player because people know exactly how you're going to respond and what you stand for, what you will and will not tolerate. Create principles and follow them. Remind yourself, and your community will remind you. Hey, you kind of broke principle number 8. Remember you said that thing that you wouldn't do, right? So create principles for yourself, and that may also just be like communicate differently, right? Growth mindset instead of saying, "Oh, you suck, you didn't do that." To, "Wow, okay, what were you trying to do, and what can we do differently to achieve that same goal?" That took less than a minute to say. Just rephrasing it, right? Because you tell someone they suck, that doesn't help
Hmm.
me get better. You suck, do better. I don't know how to do it, otherwise I would have done it. You know, do better. This is what I know. Versus teach me. Like, what were you trying to do? Try this next time. Oh, all right, cool, thanks. Now I want to work with you. Now I'm not afraid of you. Now I'm not treading around you, right? So it's create principles and learn to communicate it differently, right? And that means how would you want someone to communicate with you? Sometimes we don't know any better because we haven't experienced that. Like, how do you communicate effectively
Hmm.
when everyone around you is berating to you and when you grew up that way? So engage in other communities and see how they do it and be like, hey, that sounded cool. I like that. If you like it, try it. Try it. Right?
Of
And so
course.
it's expanding your world. That's how you foster it. You expand your world because if your world's not working for you, change it.
Thank you so much. Uh, thank you so much, Ong. I okay. Time. Let me do a time check real quick. Let's actually we're gonna move it on
Yeah,
to
we're over an hour.
our next question. Yeah,
Yeah.
I could tell. I know there's so much to talk about though, so I don't blame anybody.
There is so
I just
much.
hope I'm not
Yeah.
holding any of you guys up for too long. That's the one thing.
Yeah. And that's another thing. We can continue the conversation in Discord on chat, right?
Of
It
course.
doesn't have to stay
Yes,
here.
yes.
So here, actually, Fern, I'll let you ask. I feel like I've been asking a lot of questions recently. Got this.
Okay. And I guess follow-up was to like a heavier topic on to the heavier topic would be like how has gaming enriched the life that you lead and how has gaming helped you to grow? Because like On was saying that like oftentimes healthier habits, it's like looking at how you're like growing or improving. So by like reframing the way that you like look at things or interpret things, um we were hoping that maybe that could inspire you to like think or approach things differently as well.
Also,
I
one
think you
thing.
just answered your own question.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
um,
was funny. Uh, you can always elaborate more. I was gonna say also, if you guys are in chat, feel free to answer any of these questions yourself too, because I always love learning more
yeah.
about you guys. And even if you're not on the podcast and voice, you guys are in here in chat, which means a lot too. Feel free. The next slide is kind of I didn't even know I did that. That's kind of cool. Um,
Yeah.
is a little bit of what it's done for me. Also, Fern. So with the community, but a big thing it's brought to me is it's created a community, especially at this college that I never thought was possible. I can't imagine my life without being like being in this club with everybody I know, meeting all the people I have, making the friendships I could. You know, a lot of people say college is where you meet lifelong friends, and I think in this club I've met some genuine lifelong friends. So I think that's been genuine enrichment to my life. Um, for the second part of the question, I think since I would love to pursue something in esports in the future. That'd be awesome. Being able to find industry opportunities through gaming, whether it's I was able to go to the game development conference through our sponsor with Bisec Hosting. Let's go Bisec Hosting. We love Bisec Hosting, but that was an incredible experience. We were able to see um, all the different companies like Tencent, you know, company that owns Riot was there. A bunch of different startups and a lot of different startup games are there too. It was cool to be able to connect, and our advisor there, Preston, was able to ask if there was any student internship opportunities for a bunch of these companies. So it was really awesome, and I think without gaming, I would have never been able to get either of these to the extent I have now.
Um,
Yeah.
Gaming's taught me uh, how to game in life, right? Everyone knows they throw around the term metagaming, right? That's hella meta, right? Um, and meta also has an acronym, right? Most effective tactics available,
Hmm.
right? And I find the most, I used to run with a crew called the metagamers, right? Most effective tactics available, and the three tactics are skill mastery. So whatever it is that you develop a skill mastery in, and if you can't develop skill mastery, then it comes to mentorship. Who can mentor you into it? And then asset mapping. So mentorship, mastery, and mapping. And that's how you build your team comp, right? Some people are like, this is my skill. I mastered this skill. Cool. We got a tank. Who's going to be our support healer? Who has eyes on the whole screen that can heal us all, right? And who's going to do DPS? Those are different skill sets, and then you map those assets out, and that's how you game in life, because you won't be good at everything. So how do you complement and supplement your skills, right? And then how do you find mentors to grow and do better? And so the concepts of gaming better I've taken to every aspect of life, whether it's networking in my field, whether it's building a program or app, or expanding what mental health looks like and how we engage. It's gamified in that sense that I'm constantly learning with myself and other people and building upon the asset maps, kind of growing a Discord, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, that's
Yeah.
how it's helped me grow and help enrich the life that I lead. and in turn enrich the people's lives that I interact with.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Bless you. Those are really good points. And I guess like for myself adding on, I'd say Roman already touched on the community aspect, so I think I won't have to talk about that much. But at least for myself, it's funny that you bring up meta, right? I am a very non-meta gamer, and I think through that, gaming has let me understand that it's okay to be different. It's
Hmm.
okay to do what I want in my game. It's okay for me not to be corrected by my friends, be like, you're not building that right. Um, you're doing the opposite of what her passive does for you, or like something. I was like playing really wonky for a while, but definitely not doing any damage because I wasn't building anything right. Um but it's like okay to like say play my favorites, have a really
Hmm.
unbalanced team, do what I want because it's for example in that game it's like an open world exploration game.
Hmm.
It's supposed to be for the freedom.
Yes.
I'm not there for the fights. I'm there for the scenery or the amazing like just world building, the story, the plot, or like whatever. There's something for everyone. Like you don't have to do what others enjoy in that game. You can do whatever you want. Be it hoarding resources or materials just because I have collector syndrome or something. Or like, everybody can do their own thing
Hmm.
and um there's no need to judge or like let others judge you for like what you're doing. Do what you need to, do what makes you happy. And honestly, most people probably are too busy doing their own thing to even pay attention. So I just do my own thing and that's something that gaming has taught me and helped me grow in the sense that like, um it doesn't have to be perfect, whatever works or whatever just like makes me happy, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's
I love it.
yeah. I love that. I love being able to. It's really is you could really just express yourself in any way you want. Like unless especially with those story building and those open world games, you have the freedom to do whatever you want.
Hmm.
There's no right or wrong.
Yeah. Like, and meta is not just like. Remember, a game is whatever goal you set and rules and expectations are. When we play
Hmm.
Valheim, I literally just run around with a knife and troll gear, which is like the second level. Some people come on there just to watch the sunset. Because it's beautiful. Like we have the nurses come on and they're like, I'm just gonna fish and watch the sunset. And then you have people there just
Hmm.
building roads and buildings. And then when we get attacked, they're just like, hey, I need you. And then I'll just run out of nowhere, knife a troll or knife whatever there is and run off. And they're just like, okay, other than that, I'm pretty useless, right? Because I'm fishing. I just like fishing in game because I can't fish in real life. It's like
Hmm.
it's whatever goals you set. And yes, we have hoarders. We have people that just organize the boxes of the things we hoard. That's that's what they love. They come in there just to organize because I throw everything in the box. I'm like, hey, I got more pine cones and I got more. They're like, what? Okay, let's make more chests and let's organize it. It's whatever goal you have, right? And it could be in competitive games too. I'm gonna knife 3 people in this match, so y'all gonna work around me, you know? So yeah, I love what you put, friend, and it's giving people permission to do that.
Yeah. Um, I got. Let's go to our next topic, which is again for you, Ang or Aang. Oh my God. Sorry, I'm not your mom.
It's all right.
I no flashbacks. I promise. I didn't mean to. But yeah, I think you've touched on some of these, but it's always good to repeat good answers. What are some techniques that can
Hmm.
help us be more mindful while we're playing games? And where did the question a
Um,
little bit off? It's my fault.
Catch yourself, check yourself, change yourself. If you find yourself tense, you find yourself having to shift in your seat, that means you're tense and uncomfortable, right? If you find yourself licking your lips, slow down. If you find yourself getting angry, take a breath. What are you angry about? Because if you can't name it, you can't tame it, right? So you got to name what's going on to be back in control. Otherwise, you playing tilted and you're not going to get any better. And less comms, especially in a match. If you're playing rivals, less comms really sucks, right?
Yeah.
Like even in Valo, right? I'm playing Viper. If you're not communicating with me, I'm throwing up the walls at the wrong time, right?
True.
Right. So it's like you have to catch yourself, and that means slow down. And it also means trust your teammate, do what's yours, and trust your team. Which means you also gotta trust your team to hear your feedback, and you gotta take that feedback. Like, hey, dude, like It doesn't help when you're yelling at me like that way. Well, get good. See, now we're just there's animosity versus, oh yeah, I'm just frustrated. Okay, you're frustrated, and let's take it out on the game, not each other. Like, what can I do differently? What do you need? And how can I be better? Because you yelling at me doesn't make me better. I don't even know what you need. Well, I need you to cover me. See, all you have to do is say that, right? So slow down. And in between matches, when you get tilted, you lose some. Take a breath. Surgeons do this. They may lose somebody, but if they don't take a breath in between, they're gonna mess up the next surgery,
Mhm.
right? And I
Yeah.
worked with surgeons. I worked with doctors. I said, just take 10 seconds between patients. One patient might be yelling in your face. Take 10 seconds, breathe outside, and that's a new patient, new day, go. And they show up better, right? Do that in games. It'll reset. You need a reset. That's it. But that means you have to catch yourself in order to reset. And if you can't do it, trust your team to do it. Create an effective way where they have code words with you. It's like, hey, you
Mhm.
know to go get a pineapple. That means go take a break. Or I'm gonna take a smoke break. I don't smoke, right? That's saying I need to step away. I need to go AFK for a bit. Code it, your language if you need to. But whatever it is, communicate and co-regulate each other.
Those are really good points.
So that was actually going to be our last question, but Sherm has one more pretty hard-hitting question actually in chat if you are
Oh,
willing to answer. You
way
wanna
to end the night.
yeah, you gotta
I
end it
I
on
can read it
a
out for you.
yeah, feel free. Yeah.
The last question is, once you have sole responsibilities after college with bills, family, etc., how do you sustain a level of mental balance with life, like ups or downs, and how to go through major life events like someone passing away? Oh, I got an answer for that, but I asked the question, so y'all can go first.
I'm gonna let
Do you
you
want to start or should I start?
you should start. Again, these loaded questions are
Um,
really hard for me to answer right off the get-go. Like
it's okay. But definitely what I have been learning is that, I guess, sustaining a level of mental balance with life, I guess it's just understanding that there are ups and downs too. Like, um, of course, when it comes to like major events like someone passing away, when you are like falling or feeling like possibly falling into depression when like major life events can happen, it's like understanding that these feelings um are temporary, or like the reason why you're feeling this way would be because like you really cared about that person, and
Mhm.
it's like a testament to how much you love them, or how much you cared about them, or how much they meant to you. And of course, when it comes to like approaching these like major life events, be it like someone passing away, or just like having like a health crisis or some kind of crisis in your life, like understanding that um like if you hang in there, good things will continue to happen to you, and it won't be like perpetual like bad things hitting you. And sometimes it can seem like that, but it like these kinds of situations aren't permanent. Um and it's like it's also just like understanding that it might take you some time to process it, or like whatever
Mhm.
you're going through will take some time to get through, be it like a mental health challenge or possibly some other kind of like crisis that like just like shakes up like everything of your like natural cycle in day-to-day life, where you finally like maintain balance and all of a sudden something's happened again, be it like a really good thing or like a really possibly more negative thing that happens in your life. But like understanding that there will be good things that will come later on as well, to offset of like possibly something that you're going through, can get you through it. And oftentimes, at least for myself, when it came like that, it would be like a lot of like mentally correcting myself, or the way that I looked, like what kind of lens that tried to use to approach the world. Because oftentimes when major life events are happening, I would be very negative, and oftentimes people like if I can't check myself, I would ask other people to like remind me to be more positive, or like do things that I enjoy to like reset, or like take care of myself, because oftentimes when major life events happen, we don't take very good care of ourselves, or we enter like some kind of negative spiral or cycle.
Mhm.
So just like having supportive people around you can really help you through that too as well.
Oh,
and
great.
talking about it, I guess.
Sorry.
That too, instead of bottling it up.
Yeah. From I don't know. It's hard because this feels like a foreseeing answer, since
Yeah.
I still I'm only 19, still living with my parents, and I'm very fortunate that they given me the opportunity to, not have to pay rent, and they're paying for my school and helping me through life. So for that part of the question, I feel like I can't answer for now, but I think like what Fern said, being able to understand that there is ups and downs in life, especially through major events. Like there's going to be bad times, but with those bad times will always be good times. So I think that's like the mindset I like to have, at least when I'm going through something very major. I'm
Mm.
very interested in what Aang has to say though, because you seemed very adamant
Hmm.
on what you wanted to say immediately. So feel free to share.
Well,
Yeah.
we say the word balance a lot, and the only time we can actually get into a balance is when we're out of crisis.
Mm.
Because balance takes planning, it takes prioritization. How do you prioritize when you're in crisis? You can't. You have to take care of the thing that is needed first, right? And so it's stepping out of crisis in order to find balance. I have a daughter, right? So I work mainly from home now, but I used to work for Kaiser, right? I'm a licensed therapist, and I build my schedule around my daughter. I have the luxury of doing that. Not everyone has that. Some people work two jobs, right? Some people have school. So, I have a family to take care of. I have a job to do. And I still want to debrief, right? I used to work in the community, and when my daughter was younger, I would sometimes experience death in the community. I lost 13 students in 3 years when I worked at high school. All right, I worked in East Oakland, and I didn't want to bring that home to my daughter, so I'd sit at the park for 10 minutes before I drove home. Right. So, it's to move ourselves out of crisis to find what is that priority thing that we need, and how do we meet the need, and how do we balance that, or how do we weigh that against all the other demands in our life? Bills, work, sleep, or the myth of sleep, right? How many of y'all actually know what sleep is, right? The myth, the
True.
unicorn, right? And I think in my years, because I'm in my 40s, right? I look young because I got the Asian gene,
Hell yeah.
but I'm in my 40s, and I've learned time and time again. Yes, I sometimes love solo gaming, and we're not in a solo game. This is a giant MMORPG. So don't do it alone, right? There's a whole organization. Take this, named after the game Zelda. It's dangerous out there. Take this, and it gives you the sword, right? Don't have to do this alone. And I think it's harder to go through the ups and downs alone. Much harder to go up through the ups and downs alone versus with people. And in trauma theory, when you look at any of the trauma experts out there, or like Dr. Gabor Mate, it's not what happened to us, it's not what's wrong with us, it's what's happening inside of us when things happen to us.
Mm.
And what happens inside of us is usually trauma has a way of isolating us, making us feel like we're powerless because we have
Mhm.
nothing, right? And we do this in games. And so our goal is to move from the threat of trauma to a challenge of trauma. And that happens when we have perceived stresses, right? Whatever the perceived stress is, we have also perceived resources, whether we have money, time, friends, family, whatever that is. When the perceived resources is equal or greater than the perceived stress, that's a challenge. You just have to allocate things. And I say perceived resources because sometimes we have resources that we're not even aware of, like the health center. When you
Mhm.
perceive it, then now you know you have it. Like you may have friends, but until they say you can call on me, they may not feel like a resource till they say, "No, I got you. Next time call." Now you add that to your resource bucket and you feel better. You don't feel alone, right? Because some of us feel like burdens. We don't want to burden anyone else. But when someone says, "No,
Mhm.
it's a burden when I don't know how you're doing," you're like, "Oh, okay." Now, when our stressors are greater than our perceived resources, that's a threat now. When we talk about balance, balance is not about what we do with our life, it's how do we meet the resources and the stressors so they're at least equal. Hopefully, we imbalance it so our resources are greater than our stressors. And if we can do that, we can handle life's ups and downs. Because there's a solution for everything, there's time for everything, there's support for everything, and you're no longer alone in this, right? That meaning in relationships help us tolerate suffering, and that's what we're going through every day.
Not bad.
So
Go.
right? You want balance? Develop your relationships and learn to reach out or find those relationships that can call you out and be like, I know you're not doing well because you're looking down when you talk to me and you're texting while you're talking to me. When you're doing well, like the RAP plan, wellness recovery action plan, you look up when we talk. Right now, you haven't been doing that for the last 3 days. I know something's up. Sometimes we need someone to co-regulate us, right? So build a
Mhm.
community around you. Build your squad. Don't run in solo.
Yeah. You'd be surprised how many people are willing to support you through whatever struggle you're going through. Oftentimes, they will be like seeing and noticing signs, like has explained that people do see like changes in your behavior or maybe like signs that you're not doing well. Um, at least for myself, when I went through like mental struggles, like my mom, she just said, "Well, I see that you stopped doing things that you enjoyed. You isolated yourself in your room. You blocked out all sources of light, and you just like existed in a dark, really dark room, like during the pandemic."
Hmm.
Um, Definitely because pandemic, it was pretty isolated, right? So like she noticed those signs, but then she also was like, "Well, I didn't understand what you were going through and I didn't understand how to help." So like people are out there, they want to help you, they want to reach out, but they sometimes they don't know where to meet you at. And oftentimes it's just like you have to like if you are comfortable with them and if they're a safe person, of course, reach out to them.
Hmm.
Um, because they will be there to like meet you halfway or meet you where you're at and help you through it. Yeah.
Very well
I
put.
have a story to wrap us up. If you after you go, Roman, I have a little small story that will help wrap it up.
Oh no, just feel free to go with your story.
That'd be good.
Yeah. So it goes in line kind of with funeral. In a funeral, people pass and you can't do anything about it, but you can be present, right?
Mhm.
So in this story, a man's walking by, or a person is walking by, and they see a well, so they decide to look in the darkness, and they tilt a little too far over and fall in. And they fall in, and there's a splash, and like, oh my gosh, it's cold and wet down here. How do I get out? And as they're struggling to find a way out, they hear people talking outside above the well. And so they start screaming, "Help! Help! I fall in the well. Can someone look over and help me?" And over the edge of the well, you see two heads pop up. It's two people, and they're like, "Oh, what are you doing down there?" "Well, I looked over too far into the darkness and I fell in. Can you find something and throw it down and help us?" And they look around and say, "I don't see anything." And they're like, "Well, can you get help for me?" "Yeah, we're heading to town to a party, so once we get into town, we'll send someone your way." So this person's like, "Okay, hurry up and do it. It's really cold and dark down here. I'm a little scared." Right? And what feels like hours goes by, and they no one's coming, and then so they start feeling helpless, right? These people are busy partying. They probably forgot about me. And then in the distance, they hear faint whistling. And so they start yelling out again, "Help! Help! Is anyone out there?" And the whistling gets louder and louder. And then the head pops over the top, says, "What are you doing down there?" And they're like, "Well, I fell in the well, and I thought you were the two people earlier that fetched for help that went to a party." They're like, "No, I don't see anyone here." Like, "Well, can you look around and help me out?" And this person's like, "Well, I'm busy right now. I have to actually get to an appointment. But after the appointment, I'll come back. If you're still here, I'll help you out." Right? And this person, in the well is just like, "Oh my God, this is hopeless. People have important lives. They don't want to do anything with me. I'm not important to them. I mean nothing." And as they're starting to despair more and more and about to give up, they hear more whistling. They're like, "Oh, that person's back. Okay, maybe they didn't forget about me." And they yell, "Help! Help! I'm stuck in the well." And then a head appears over the top, and it's me. I say, "Hey, what are you doing down there? Aren't you supposed to be somewhere? I know you." And the person in the well's like, "Well, three other people came by. They didn't want to help. Can you find something?" And I look around. I'm like, I don't see anything around here. But I can get help. "No, don't leave. Everybody else left. Don't leave. Can you find a way?" I'm like, "Oh, I think I have an idea." Like, "Yeah, tell me." And then as they perceive me step back and disappear, they start freaking out. Like, "Oh my God, you're leaving too." And then they hear a loud splash. And the person in the well is reaching around and going, "What did they drop? Was it a ladder? Was it rope? Did I drop them rope?" I pop up next to him and say, "Hey, uh, I figured it was cold and wet down here. What are you doing down here? Now we're both stuck." Yeah, about that. I couldn't find anything out there. Yeah, I really got nothing for you, but I've been in these cold, dark places before, and I've gotten out. So I can walk with you through this, and we'll find a way out together. Sometimes we're the one stuck in the well. Sometimes we're the one headed to the party or the appointment. Sometimes we're the one that's jumping in and saying, "I've been there before, and I got out. I don't know how, but I did it." You don't got to walk alone. We all have lives to live, right? We don't get to choose whether or not we're role models. We all are role models. People are always watching us. We get to choose what role we're going to model. So just be mindful. Even if we are headed to a party or have an appointment, follow through with our commitments and call for help, right? And if we've been in the darkness before, we don't have to solve the problem and find rope. Sometimes we just have to sit with them and walk through it.
Ah, that was an amazing story, actually.
It's not
Yeah,
mine,
it
right?
was
I
so
took it from Chicken
amazing.
Soup for the Soul.
Yeah, yeah. But that's a good way to put it. God, you guys have such good analogies. All courtesy of the health
I
center.
know.
And yeah, no, it makes it even. I mean, even Sherm said it in chat. Thank you so much for coming onto the show, Ing. It means a
No, thank
lot
Yeah.
for a lot of especially our members and even students of the school to
Hmm.
know more about what we can do better when it comes to mindfulness in video games. And I'll let you continue
Yeah.
on from here. I know you want.
I mean, especially if anyone ever has like follow-up questions, we are working to create like, a whole mental health discussion channel that you can like opt into because um in the cases where we could be discussing like sensitive topics, we do want to create a channel for that so that people can talk about things that they're going through and maybe like have people like respond back in support or like for like if you have like more questions, of course you can drop them there and then we can um like get you like answer responses or I can refer them to like some of our therapists at the health center to answer some of like more technical questions for like advice and like more specific questions. But of course you can always like schedule an appointment to meet with them as well over Zoom or in person. Um but yeah, we're really happy that you that we were able to have on come on today, especially since we do understand that we did go a bit over time than what we had planned, but we were able to have such amazing discussions. Thank you to our amazing community to ask more follow-up questions for things that they were interested in learning. No, it's not your fault. It's
Yes.
okay because these are honestly questions that probably everyone has considered, at least in passing, or like has been curious about. So thank you for being their voice and asking them because they're all like a lot of like questions that like either like when you like it's like something you won't have an answer for until you either are like suffering or like in crisis and then we just wanted to make sure that you can like be there for your community and also like so you don't feel as overwhelmed when things do happen to you like you have answers and you feel like you have the resources and also the support to like get out of like the dark place in like that story and that there are people around you that will support you if they have the capacity to of course and there definitely will be like that one person who will be able to help you through it. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you again for coming on. Hope we didn't take up too much of your time.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Time is one thing we can't replace, and I don't regret any of this time. So, I appreciate, y'all having the flexibility to go a bit longer and just addressing the questions in the chat. So I appreciate that.
Of
Thank you.
course. And
Yeah.
feel free to, be a part of the community. Uh, Join game nights.
Yeah,
It's always fun to see
maybe
more
join our
faces.
game nights.
But yeah, thank you so much. We are gonna move on to a few of our events that we have planned in the future. Uh,
Yeah, just some announcements from like both like the health center and of course the club as well. We have some really cool events planned out for the next couple of weeks, and there's a lot going on. So maybe put them on your calendars or just like keep them on your radars because we'll be discussing all sorts of cool things and doing all sorts of cool activities at these events.
Yeah. First one is our own event, only RNG Esports. We are having a women in esports panel. Have two amazing uh, people who are in the industry. And as you can see at the bottom, it is sponsored by the Student Health Center. Fern, you were in some of the planning. If you
Hmm.
want to explain a little bit more of this, I feel like this page is a
Yeah,
lot more of yours than mine. So
yeah. So we've organized this really cool esports panel for the women and non-binary students in our community because we understand that like we want to give them this platform and representation and hopefully they can ask like questions and also just like socialize and network with other students because oftentimes at our events sometimes it can be intimidating when like I guess our female to male ratio is not exactly like equal in some ways, and that can be intimidating for certain students. At least for myself, I'm lucky that I'm pretty outgoing and I'm not super shy, so that hasn't been a problem for me. But I do know that like for some of my friends that might be a barrier or so we wanted to make like an inclusive event for our female members of the community as well as non-binary members. And through this panel, they'll be able to have an opportunity to network and also learn more and ask questions. And we'll also be recording the panel so that the rest of our members can also learn all sorts of important information from the panel as well, because it's an awesome opportunity for like the industry and learning more about the industry. But it will be tomorrow 1 p.m. In building 2, room 2, 2000, building 2, um, level 2, and I believe that's a lecture hall in building 2. And we do have like a short 15-minute like mindfulness or health center presentation at the beginning of the event, courtesy of one of our amazing therapists, Elizabeth, and she'll be coming in to do a short presentation while students are just like entering and filtering in. She'll be giving that presentation to teach to teach students more about mental health as well as their health resources here on campus. Um, and also, yeah, we'll have free boba for the first 20 participants, and we also have, I think, Chick-fil-A.
Like,
Dude, I don't say that right ever.
no, you're good.
Um,
But yeah, we do.
I blame my
yeah.
parents for like feeding me whatever nonsense version of the brand we've been saying at home for all this time. But yes, we'll have that. And that has been also sponsored by the Student Health Center, and they've been supporting our events and doing like collaborations like this, which is super cool. So we are supported, and you should totally take advantage of our health resources here on campus. Yes. And then like the student wellness ambassadors have also organized a yoga class. One of the instructors here on Fremont campus has been very, very gracious, and she decided to host a yoga session. I believe she also teaches yoga classes too, but she's putting together this event for students to just like kind of de-stress and try it out as well. It'll be super cool. We'll be providing yoga mats, I believe, to um we'll have like yoga mats for like I believe like the first 20 people who show up. But like if you're worried about that, I guess bring your own. It is preferred if you bring your own if you do have one, I guess, because um then I guess you'll definitely have a yoga mat. But like the first 20 participants will have a yoga mat. It'll be down towards Palm Bosque, which is like the area between Hyman Hall and building 1 and 2, like near the traffic circle where the buses pull up. It'll be like right around there with all the palm trees and the grass. So it'll be like a yoga session in the prettier part of campus, I would say, with the palm trees and the grass. Um, and that will be happening on April 29th, which is a Tuesday, 12:30 to 1:30. So if you have time, swing by. And there should be like I think light refreshments and things like that as well. And we also have a save workshop, which is where we will be having a discussion about nonviolent communication and conflict resolution because we thought that would be something good for students to learn about. So
Yeah.
that was like the topic that we contacted them about to teach us. And it'll be a super cool event. Okay, so we have reached out to one of our amazing members of the health center. She runs a small business. There will be super amazing cupcakes there. So if you're the first people to arrive, you'll get to call dibs on those absolutely amazing cupcakes. All of her flavors never miss. I would say come over for the information, and also we'll have like really cool food. And you should come. Gabby's cupcakes are like out of this world, and
Oh,
she's
it's
super
Gabby's, of
amazing.
course.
Yes,
Yes.
it's Gabby's cupcakes. They are to die for.
He's not lying. No, they're really good. And I'm
They're
diabetic.
really good.
Like, they're worth it.
I'm not gonna lie, I had those at like what is it? My intro meeting to like the whole like position for the wellness ambassador position. And I was sold. I was like, oh my god, these cupcakes are amazing. The position sounds so cool. I was just like I was sold then and there. So, the information will be amazing. I feel like they'll teach us amazing skills. I think everybody needs a little conflict resolution in their life, so we don't get into sticky situations and learning how to diffuse them without with as little like resistance as possible.
Yes.
Yeah. So it'll be super cool.
Tons of events on campus
Yay.
to check out, guys. So
Yeah, there's so much going
keep these in
on.
mind. Uh, let's shout out our biggest sponsor again. I always love doing this. Let's get some hearts for Bicyc Hosting for any active chatters. They have been
Mhm.
so helpful with everything. They've sponsored our website, our
Yep,
Minecraft
yep.
server. We're going to have a Minecraft event coming up in a few weeks, maybe 2 to 3 weeks. So look out for that. And we do even have our
Yes.
own promo code with them. If you didn't know, they are the
Mhm.
reason why I was able to go to GDC. They got us free expo tickets, which is incredible. And they've said that we are the best college that they've ever worked with. So we want to keep it that way. We want to keep this relationship going. And hopefully, when we get that esports lab in the future, we can rep some of their stuff. They have a really cute
Yeah.
mascot. It's like a little astronaut guy. So it'd
Yes.
be really cool
And
to
they
see it.
also offered to help us host more servers in the future. And we're planning to set those up for the next semester. And yeah, based off of our interests, we might have like a Rust server or some other cool um game that we can host on their servers. There's a wide selection. We'll probably maybe open up another form to see what students want to see, and we'll be
Mm.
able to have another server up and running for maybe over the summer, over the upcoming semester. Yeah.
Yeah. And we got one last thing to talk about, and we do have a feedback form. So you guys can scan the QR code, or if you guys do exclamation, I'll do it right now in chat actually, exclamation point feedback. We have a form that is up, and it will help us try to do better on events. It's been something we've been really concerned about is making sure we can retain as many people as possible, be as inclusive, have as we can, and have as many fresh ideas as we can to bring more people out. If you have anything you want to tell us, feel free to do the form. There's also just like basic how have you like basic questions like from a scale of 1 to 5, how much fun have you been having at our events and then why? So please fill that out if you can, if you've been to our events. And yeah, that's basically it for
That's a
the
wrap,
podcast.
pretty
Yeah.
much.
I want to thank everybody here, especially my guests, Fern and Ing, for coming out and waiting with me for almost 2 hours now, talking about everything we've talked about. It's been an amazing time. I want to once again say thank you for the Student Health Center for not just supporting us as a club, but also just being a resource for our students. And I hope that this gave insight to a
Mhm.
lot of people who didn't know what the health center provided.
Yes,
Awesome.
of course.
Thank you. And we'll see y'all in the Discord or dropping by the health center.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah.
Uh,
And if you ever have extra questions, feel free to reach out through like the contact us or like email us or like message us, that kind of stuff. We'll probably open up like a discussion channel for mental health topics if you want to ask questions or just also maybe have a venting channel as well. If you're going through something, maybe we can set that up too. And that will be up soon for the students who need it and want to use it.
we're gonna wrap it up here. I want to again thank you guys and keep it classy.
Thank you. Yep.